Images from today Americans will never forget. Blood on the face of a former president while rallying voters in Pennsylvania.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
The shooter taken down within seconds. But in the crossfire, 3 innocent people shot in the crowd. 1 killed, 2 others critically hurt.
So I was just so scared. I was laying on the ground. I was like, am I going to be next?
A resilient Donald Trump after an attempt on his life. A fist to the sky as agents carry him to safety.
We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this.
A dark day for America.
But a day to unite against violence. Donald Trump is out of the hospital tonight after an assassination attempt. He is doing well. We also just learned that law enforcement recovered an AR-style rifle at the scene.
The suspected shooter is dead tonight. Law enforcement says he was firing from a shed outside the security perimeter about 200 to 300 feet away. Investigators haven't shared any information about him or his identity.
Trump was in the middle of a speech at a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. That's about 45 minutes north of Pittsburgh. Chaos erupted when shots rang out. You see Trump grab his ear. He says a bullet pierced it.
Secret Service agents swarmed the stage. They later helped him up and rushed him to the motorcade. The former president went to a nearby hospital to get examined. Quickly after the shooting, we learned Trump was okay.
3 people in the crowd were hit. The Secret Service says 1 of them has died and 2 are critically hurt. Donald Trump released a statement about 2 hours after the shooting. He thanked law enforcement for their quick response. He also sent condolences to the family of the person killed. Trump concluded his statement saying, "God bless America." You could see the shock and the panic in the crowd as soon as Trump hit the ground on the stage. Hundreds of people ducked for cover as shots rang out.
It's just honestly so scary. Like, you see all these things about shootings and you never think it's going to be you until it is.
I heard the second and then I realized what it was that was happening, so I just kind of shoved my wife down to the ground and put myself over her while I scanned around me, trying to figure out where exactly these shots were coming from.
The bullets rattled around the grandstand. 1 hit the speaker tower, and then chaos broke. We hit the ground, and the police converged to the grandstands. We assisted with 2 patients that may have gotten shot up in the grandstand, and we cleared a path for getting them out of the way. And it's just a sad day for America.
I heard the shots. I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, "He's been shot, he's been shot." So I made my way over. I said, "I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you." The guy had spun around and was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There was lots of blood.
President Biden gave a statement tonight after the deadly shooting at that Trump rally.
Biden and Trump did speak on the phone tonight.
Look, there's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. But the bottom line is that the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it.
As you can imagine, lawmakers from across the country have condemned this attack and offered condolences to former President Trump, among them 2 former presidents. The George W. Bush Presidential Center posted a statement from former President Bush tonight. Laura and I are grateful that President Trump is safe following the cowardly attack on his life, and we commend the men and women of the Secret Service for their speedy response. Former President Barack Obama also reacted. There is absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy. Although we don't yet know exactly what happened, we should all be relieved that former President Trump wasn't seriously hurt and use this moment to commit ourselves to civility and respect in our politics. Michelle and I are wishing him a quick recovery.
Not long before President Biden spoke tonight, his campaign announced it is pausing all messages to supporters. The campaign is working to pull all ads off of television as quickly as it can. This comes just ahead of the Republican National Convention that starts on Monday in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Law enforcement was placed on high alert days ago there. A federal threat assessment team sent out a warning calling for heightened awareness. The team never identified a credible or a specific threat. It just wanted local leaders to know about possible danger. Leaders met to discuss securing the city earlier this week. The immediate question for today's deadly shooting in Pennsylvania is how Secret Service has protocols in place.
Agents work with local law enforcement and the TSA to secure everyone as they enter a rally site. The Secret Service has also counter snipes and a counter assault team for the president and major party nominees to address threats as they arise. Anyone in law enforcement knows that when you work at a presidential event, you know that there's a long list of tasks that need to be prepared.
Two Triad sheriffs have a unique perspective. WFMY News 2's Joseph Leonard spoke to Rockingham County Sheriff Sam Page and Forsyth County Sheriff Bobby Kimbrough Jr. to get their insight on today's events.
Two local sheriffs tell WFMY that assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump is sending shockwaves through law enforcement.
What have we come to in America when we resort to violence? I was saddened by that, regardless of what your affiliation may be.
Very shocking. You know, we're in the middle of campaign season, and then to see this happen. So I'll say a big prayer for former President Trump and for speedy recovery.
Both say everyone working security for high-profile events are prepared to jump in at any moment, and there are several levels of preparation from Secret Service, from advanced planning teams, day of security, to sweeps after the event.
Anybody that has done it at that level, any type of high level or high speed dignitary protection, you know that it's business. And you got to be willing, as we say, to give up the ghost. In other words, give up your life to save someone else's life. That's a whole nother mindset in order to perform like that.
But even with those thorough setups, they say the threat always exists, especially if a shooter, like the one in this case, sets up outside of the event.
We know that the magnetometers, anybody who comes in, no weapons, you are checked. I mean, we've gone in and we've been thoroughly checked. The problem you have to worry about is an off-site shooter.
And both sheriffs have extensive knowledge. Sheriff Kimbrough is a former DEA agent, and he's been sheriff since 2018. Sheriff Page started his career as a law enforcement officer with the Air Force, and he's been sheriff of Rockingham County since 1998.
Trump's name is plastered all over the country. Few places have the prominence of Trump Tower in New York City.
New York Mayor Eric Adams says NYPD has increased patrols and its presence at that building. His office says there's nothing linking today's assassination attempt to the city. This is just a precaution.
Let's go back to the overwhelming reaction from leaders around our state and country. U.S. Senator Ted Butt wrote, "We continue to pray for President Trump and those who were shot in the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. The hysterical and incendiary rhetoric directed at President Trump is fueling this un-American political violence. It must stop." Senator Tom Tillis reacted, saying this was a heinous assassination attempt and thank God that President Trump is safe. Keep praying for those who were shot. Violence in our political system can never be tolerated. And at the state level, Governor Roy Cooper said violence has no place in our politics or communities. "I am grateful for the quick response by law enforcement today and hope former President Trump is not seriously injured." Senate Leader Phil Berger of Rockingham County says praying for President Trump and our nation. U.S. Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi knows the impact of political violence. Someone nearly killed her husband last year. As one whose family has been the victim of political violence, I know firsthand that political violence of any kind has no place in our society. I thank God that former President Trump is safe.
As we said earlier, this attack comes days before the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Several key people from our state are scheduled to attend. Congressman Richard Hudson, Franklin Graham and Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson are all on the guest list. Graham posted this on social media. "I thank God that former President Donald J. Trump is alive. Our prayers are also with the others injured at the rally today and the family of the individual who was killed." Lieutenant Governor Robinson shared a video on social media tonight. He says his prayers are with Donald Trump.
Passions are inflamed on both sides of the aisle. But please, let's all remember who we are. We are Americans, and let's unify in the fact that violence has no place in political discourse. We must remain calm, we must remain steadfast, and we must remain unified on at least that point.
And we asked to speak with Robinson's opponent in the governor's race, Attorney General Josh Stein. His campaign did not respond to our request tonight. He did share a statement on social media. "I am outraged by what happened tonight at President Trump's rally. Political violence is abhorrent and has no place in America. I pray for his health and am grateful he was able to walk off the stage tonight. I appreciate the Secret Service and law enforcement for their immediate response."
Greensboro just saw a campaign visit from Vice President Kamala Harris just a couple of days ago. Secret Service was in town as she spoke to a crowd at Dudley High School on Thursday. Well, tonight, the vice president said in part that she is praying for Donald Trump, his family, and all of those who have been injured and impacted by the senseless shooting. She went on to thank the Secret Service, first responders, and local police for their immediate action, and also saying violence such as this has no place in our nation.
Donald Trump was last in Greensboro this past March at the Coliseum. A crowd of thousands attended as the former president discussed border security, immigration policies, and supporting law enforcement in Greensboro.
Again, former President Donald Trump is out of the hospital and is doing well this evening. He said he is grateful to law enforcement for their fast action. He made it clear this evening that he will be in Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention next week.
As for the investigation into today's attempted assassination, investigators confirmed tonight the shooter used an AR-style rifle from 200 to 300 feet away. The gunman was on top of a shed outside the security perimeter. As for the spectator shot and killed, no information released on identity just yet. The FBI is now leading the investigation.
And as we said earlier, it is a dark day for America, but a day to unite against violence. We'll be right back.